Yes, Noah. Alright. How'd you do? You make me proud.
I hope.
You didn't know the period formula. What's the period formula? You bet. I'm telling you, don't start that semester like this now. Alright. Alright, so we start with what is our x coordinate? 0. How do I find my x coordinates? Take pi and divide it by what? 4. So this will be pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4 reduces to pi, 5 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4 reduces to 3 pi over 2, 7 pi over 4, 8 pi over 4 reduces to 2 pi. Okay, it's important to know that I'm dealing with a sine function. Well, I start at my amp or my origin. So it'd be 0 to my amp, 0, down to my amp, 0, and so forth. I'm going to add my phase shift to what coordinates? X. So I'm going to add 0 plus pi over 2 is pi over 2. 1/4 plus 1/2 will give me what? 3 pi over what? Very good. Half and a half gives me pi. Then 3 pi over 4 1/2 gives me 5 pi over 4. Then 6 pi over 4 reduces to 3 pi over 2. Then 7 pi over 4. Then 8 pi over 4 gives me 2 pi. Then 9 pi over 4. Then 10 pi over 4 reduces to 5 pi over 2. Then I'm going to add my vertical shift to what coordinates? So that's going to be -1, 0, -1, -2, -1, 0, -1, -2, -1. Now I'm going to graph those bottom. Yes. Yes, buddy. So now I'm going to graph it. If you had any trouble on that quiz, you need to come to 0 period. We need to work some. Because those are easy ones. Yes, buddy. You could do that. I just have to visually see it. Are there any questions on number 5? Let's think about, this has nothing to do with this problem, but factoring. When you factor, what are you taking out of that? Let's just say a 5. What operation are you doing? You're dividing, aren't you? Dividing 5 divided by 5 is 1. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 2. Do you understand that? Okay. So in this particular problem right here, we have that right there. What is wrong with that problem? We got a 2 in front of the x, so we got to take that 2 out. Very good, Mr. Hall. We're going to take that 2 out. When I take that out, it's like GCF. So I'm going to divide this term by 2 and this term by 2. Okay? So, if I got 3 sine 2, that's, what happens to those 2's right here? I'm left with x, and what happens to these 2? Do you see how I did that GCF right there? So we're really working with 3 sine 2x plus pi. Oh. Does that make sense? Okay, we're going to come back and do this problem in just a second, but I want to look at this one because you have to buy a factor in here too. Look up here. So let's say we had this one because we're not going to get time to work this one out, but I want to make sure we know how to factor something like this. You always want to take out this first number here because you want that to be a 1, okay? So if I took this out, if I divided this by 2 and this by 2, what happens to these 2's? So you're left with a theta. What's understood from that pi?
1.
Can you say 1 divided by 2?
Yes.
And get a whole number?
No.
So how would you, what would you just leave there? Do you see how I went from that to that? Because I took a 2 out, I put a 2 here. 2 divided by 2 is understood 1 there. But I can't say 1 divided by 2 and get a whole number. So that you would leave that as pi over 2. That's how you would handle that, okay? So you really would here would have sine 2 theta plus pi over 2 plus 2. Does that make sense? Are you sure? Noah? Does that make sense? No, Noah, what do you understand, buddy? You good? Alright, so let's go back to number 6.
Can you move it up a little bit?
Oh, well, you need to rewatch that part of the video then. Alright. Number 6. What do you not understand about 5, buddy? Alright, number 6. What's my amp? We're going back to 6. What's my amp? 3. What is your B value there, Dylan? What's your B value here? 2. So to find my period, what's my period formula, Connor? So I want to say 2 pi divided by 2, and I get pi as my period. What is my phase shift here, Jesse? Negative pi. I see pi, but my phase shift will be negative pi. Noah, do I have a vertical shift here? No, none. Very good. But since I do have a phase shift, I'm going to make a table. We always start with 0. My period is pi. I'm going to take pi and divide by 4. So it'll be pi over 4. 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. 3 pi over 4. 4 pi over 4 is pi. 5 pi over 4. 6 pi over 4 reduces. 7 pi over 4. And then 8 pi over 4, which is 2 pi. Since this is sine, I got to follow the nature of the sine graph. It starts at the origin, then goes to the amp, back to the x, down to the amp. I'm going to add my phase shift to what coordinates? X. So 0 plus negative pi is negative pi. Pi over 4 plus, that's 1/4 plus a negative 1 is negative 3 pi over 4. Positive 1/2 plus a negative 1 will be negative pi over 2. 3/4 plus a negative 1 will be a negative pi over 4. Pi plus negative pi will be 0. 5 pi over 4 plus negative 1 would be a pi over 4. 3/2 plus negative 1 would be pi over 2. 7 over 4 plus negative 1 would be 3 pi over 4. 2 pi plus a negative pi would be pi. If you do not understand how I get that, raise your hand. I'm going to go back over that and teach you how to put it in the calculator. I had no vertical shift, so I bring my y straight down. And I'm going to graph that final line. On number 7, let's just go through the parts. What's my amp on number 7? 2. What's my period? What's your amp? I'm sorry. What's my amp on number 7? 1. There's an understood 1 in front of that sign. What's my period? Pi. Guys, I didn't tell no one to put up anything at the moment. What is my period on this one right here? Pi, because I got that. My amp is 1 in front of the sign. My B value is 2, so 2 pi divided by 2 is pi. What's my phase shift? And then vertical shift is? Did y'all hear that bell in here? Is just in the hallway? Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I'd lose my hearing. Make sure you have your 4 problems copied down. 9, 14, 15, 18 on page 5. See you tomorrow. No, I've not heard that all day. The bell.